How's everyone doing? Today I have a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray collection update with 15 pickups. If you've seen any of these, definitely let me know what you think of them and let me know which one of these is your favorite. Leave me those comments down below. But let's go ahead and get into it. First up is Godzilla, King of Monsters, and they're going to be releasing the Godzilla movie with Bryan Cranston coming up in a couple weeks, I believe, and then the King Kong vs. Godzilla is also coming up at the end of the month. So a lot of Godzilla going on right now, especially in my life with Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This one was a lot of fun. It's probably one of the more action-oriented Godzilla movies that I've seen. I love Mothra. I love all the different characters in here. I thought the cast was really good. It's a good mix of the family drama elements as well as just awesome effects for the monsters. Looking forward to revisiting this and checking it out in the 4K. But yeah, a lot of Godzilla coming out. Let me know what your favorite Godzilla movie is, and let me know what your favorite Godzilla villain is as well. Next up is Shazam, and this was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. It was just fun, and I love all the characters at the end when they get their powers and everything like that. And I also love the kind of backstory of the character, and there was an after credits scene as well, which is interesting. Basically, it's about this kid who can transform into Shazam. He's like this 14-year-old kid, and he turns into this superhero, and he's just kind of like dealing with that factor and the powers. And he's got a rough, family dynamic situation going on too. He's in this house with a bunch of other kids. I kind of like that aspect he's dealing with, growing up and all the issues there, kind of like a coming of age story, but also with the superpowers. And I really like, again, the backstory and the history of Shazam. I wasn't too into this character when I was younger, but I think this movie is like one of the better places to start. I was definitely surprised by it. I do like Mark Strong a lot here too. He was like the villainous character. And Zachary Levi was really good as Shazam. Some good effects in here. It was just a fun ride. For DC, I definitely think Marvel destroys them on their live action front for the movies, but DC animated movies are really good. And this one, again, probably one of my favorite recent DC movies. Obviously the Batman movies. But yeah, I was surprised by this one, and I wouldn't mind seeing some more Shazam. Next up is Lockup, which I was actually surprised this got a 4K release. This is from the 80s. I'm trying to see 1989. This is essentially like, a jail action thriller movie. I like the supporting cast here a lot. You got Sylvester Stallone as the lead character, and his name is Leone. I wonder if that's kind of like a nod to Sergio Leone. Frank Leone is his name, but he's in prison and he's facing against this warden, Donald Sutherland, who's trying to make his life hell, essentially. And they had run-in the past, so it's kind of like a vengeance story for Donald Sutherland. But yeah, I like the cast in here. One of the other characters in here, John Amos, he's like one of the guards. And then you have Sonny Landham, who is always, big tough guy, and he's getting into fights with Sylvester Stallone a lot. So you kind of definitely feel invested in his character and root for him. But I like the cast a lot, and one of the better prison movies out there. Let me know what your favorite Sylvester Stallone movie is. Obviously, Rambo, Rocky, ones like that are going to come up. But let me know what your favorite jail movie is too. There's a bunch of really good jail movies. But again, great cast here. I was surprised that this got the 4K treatment. And I'm going to be checking this one out soon. It's from Lionsgate. And the first two of these ones right here are from Warner Brothers. Godzilla, King of Monsters, and then Shazam. Shin Godzilla. I want to talk about Shin Godzilla really quickly. I've watched a few Godzilla movies recently. Godzilla vs. Biollante, which was horrendous in my opinion, laughably bad. But it's out of print, the Blu-ray for that, and goes for crazy money. So, if you have that, maybe if you're not just a completionist, I don't know, I wasn't a big fan of that one. But Shin Godzilla, probably the best looking Godzilla out there, but it's just weighed down too much by expository, unnecessary dialogue and just all this exposition, about politics and things of that nature. And I feel like it's like 90% talking and, 10% Godzilla, if that, probably not even, probably closer to like 95% I love the evolution of Godzilla though, and just the look, especially the ending to it. I was just amazed by it, but again, just too much, dialogue, heavy exposition about things that are unnecessary. Again, politics, procedural stuff like that. Just angered me because I wanted so much more Godzilla because Godzilla just looked so awesome in Shin Godzilla. But yeah, just a little mini rant there talking about Godzilla. Next up is Aquaman. This movie was like a wreck for me. I know a lot of people love the heck out of it. Some great visuals for sure, visually stunning, but it felt like 3 movies compressed into one. And then also too, I'm not a big Jason Momoa fan. I don't think he's a good actor at all. He's got some screen presence for sure. But just the dialogue in here and just his acting. There's the scene where he said, "Oh, I could have peed on it." Like that's in this movie. Come on. I don't know. I definitely liked a lot of the supporting cast here. Willem Dafoe. I always want more Willem Dafoe. He's awesome. Let me know what your favorite Willem Dafoe movie. I recently just watched Game of Thrones. Jason Momoa was kind of a letdown on that. He was barely in it, supposed to be this big tough guy, Dothraki, and yeah, it was pretty much a letdown for that. But I don't know. I do think can't remember what commercial it was, but where he takes off all the muscles. That was pretty funny. I definitely like that. But again, good supporting cast, great visuals, but the dialogue and just the fact that it felt like it was 3 movies compressed into one just weighs this movie down. It's directed by James Wan. I'd like to see Death Sentence get a Blu-ray here in the US. Dead Silence is probably like my favorite James Wan movie. Just super creepy one to me. Let me know your favorite James Wan movie. Everybody saw, and I get it. James Wan directed Insidious, which gets a lot of love from the horror community. I prefer Poltergeist, but I definitely think Insidious is a good horror movie, modern horror movie. Of course, he did The Conjuring, which I think is nothing new conceptually, but easily one of the best of its ilk. Wasn't a big fan of The Conjuring 2. But he also did Furious 7. So he does, a bunch of different stuff. Again, Death Sentence, more action, revenge kind of thing. And then Furious 7, action. And then this, superhero comic book movie. And I think this was his first feature film that he actually did in Australia. He's from Australia. So I thought that was kind of interesting that he's waited this long to do that. But he's very talented. He can do different genres, but I definitely like him in horror the best. I definitely want to see him direct more horror and just more in general. But Aquaman, again, this was just a jumbled mess for me. There's a lot of positives, but a lot of negatives. I'm gonna, revisit it, check out the visuals. This is another release from Warner Brothers. Let me know who your favorite DC superhero is outside of Superman and Batman. I feel like, those are going to be the top choices right there. Next up is Creed 2. Give me some more Creed. I could go for, a whole bunch of Creed movies. I definitely like Michael B. Jordan in the lead role. Then Sylvester Stallone is great too. I like the cast in here, the supporting cast a lot. Looking forward to revisiting. I saw it when it first came out. This is another Warner Brothers release. I thought it looked really good in 4K. I checked this one out. The fight sequences, the blacks were really dark and inky, and the colors that did appear were just, really stood out. Great clarity and details. But definitely want to see more from the Creed franchise. And again, it kind of, ties into, Rocky as well with the different characters, the son, and then Dolph Lundgren again too. Just that whole tie-in, I like it. They could do so much more with it. And I think it's a great core cast that they already have. Keep going with it. Next up is Overlord, which I loved the heck out of this movie. It's produced by J.J. Abrams. I think his name brought a lot of notoriety to this film, and deservedly so, though. I'm glad that it happened that way because it deserves way more recognition. This is just palpable tension, great action, great mixture of war and horror as well. It's essentially like a World War II Nazi movie, but there's, horror elements here. I don't want to give too much away. But it's very thrilling, palpable tension again, like I said, really great horror elements here mixed with the war element. You don't really see that too often. You see some, Nazi zombie movies and things like that. But this one to me is amazing, really impressed me. Gritty, dirty, and this was released from Paramount. Definitely a wild ride for sure. It says that on the blur back there. But love the heck out of this, and especially when they're going in to the base at the end. The paratroopers come down, and they see something that they're not prepared for, and loved this movie so much. Would highly recommend it if you're a horror fan and if you're a fan of war movies too. Just the mixture of that really worked well. I want to see more of that too. Like I said, there's a bunch of different, Outpost, 3 different Outpost movies, I believe, but there's a few, Nazi zombie movies and things like that. But I want to see more in this vein where it was just amazing effects, amazing tension, acting, just thrilling. Love it. Just gritty, dirty. You get it really felt like, very, great job depicting, World War II and just the different elements there, and the Nazis and going to her house and things like that, and there's so much different underlying elements going on here, and they all worked well together. Great genre blend. Love this movie so freaking much. Next up is 13 Hours. Super happy to upgrade this one. This is another release from Paramount. Love the cast here. Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Another one that was just palpable tension in here. This is directed by Michael Bay. He's got some haters, but I think he does a great job with the action movies. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into with a Michael Bay movie. So don't be mad about it and complain about it later. But let me know what your favorite Michael Bay movie is. He's got a lot to choose from, directing-wise, producing-wise as well, too. But yeah, this one, there's like a military base. I want to say it's in Libya. I don't see it on the back here. But it's essentially like attacked, and these soldiers have to fight for their lives. And it's just a great tale of heroism and just gritty as well. All the different soldiers. The cast here was so friggin' good. James Badge Dale, who I think is such an underrated actor. I want to see him in more stuff. But he's been around for a while. I've seen him in a bunch of like low budget stuff for years, but it's great to see him getting more recognition. John Krasinski, awesome. Came a long way from Jim from The Office, where he, The Quiet Place, and this one right here, and the Tom Clancy stuff too. But he can do action roles. He can do pretty much everything. Again, I love The Quiet Place. I thought it was an excellent job there. He directed, starred in it. Co-starred with his real life wife. So I definitely think he's very talented, and he's, again, come a long way from The Office. But yeah, this one right here, I love the whole cast. Great action film. Also dealing with, military and things like that. So a lot of shootouts, and just really felt authentic as well. When you're watching, you felt like you were just engulfed in everything that was going on. And it was engaging from the beginning too. But I definitely liked the camaraderie with everybody in here too. And again, another one that was just palpable tension, and love the heck out of this one. This is one that I was like, I want to upgrade this. I want to get a few other ones that I think need to be upgraded to 4K. And I feel like we're seeing a lot more of the 4K releases coming out. I remember, a few years ago, people were saying, "Oh, 4K, it's just a fad. It's going to pass. There's not enough releases." The floodgates are open now. Let me know what your favorite 4K release is, and what you'd like to see get released on 4K in the future too. But yeah, this is definitely one that I'm happy to get. American Sniper's one that doesn't have a 4K release yet, but I'd like to see get a 4K release. But this is one I wanted to upgrade, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, gotta get it. Next up is John Wick 3, Parabellum. I'm not the biggest John Wick fan, I'll be honest with you. It's just so derivative. There's just slight variations to each movie, but it's just him getting chased and shot out like 8 million times. And I don't know, I'm more forgiving for the horror genre. It's my favorite genre by far. The action ones, I don't know, he's shot at like 8 million times and he still isn't dead. Come on. Everything's getting blown up, and it's just hard for me to suspend disbelief that much. I get it, it's an action movie, it's over the top, but I don't know, I just can't get past it. And it's so derivative, just slight variations for each movie, but it's the same kind of concept over and over. There's some great action sequences, definitely, but it's just hard for me to get over the fact that, he's shot at that many times, explosions everywhere, all the different fight sequences, and, but I do, you see a lot more of certain characters in here too. Mark Dacascos was really good, and Halle Berry too. Lawrence Fishburne, you see a little bit more of him. And then, some of the other, of course, cast in here coming back. So they're going to make another one, of course. And I like the slipcover. You got to catch the light over here. It doesn't really pick up in the video too much. And it's not too sunny out right now, so nothing coming through. But trust me, it's got a hollow foil, even on the back. You can see a little bit down there at the bottom, but it's got a really nice hollow foil effect on the slipcover. And in person, it's so much nicer. It's not picking up on the video for whatever reason, but it's beautiful. I love it. Next up is Yesterday. This is directed by Danny Boyle. Let me know what your favorite Danny Boyle movie is. He's got some great ones. Trainspotting. It's one of my all-time favorites. I feel like Trainspotting and Fight Club are two movies that I think surpassed the books. Like, usually I try not to compare the adaptations because, you know, you take certain things from the novel and then, you know, adapt it to the movie. It's hard to, you know, do that and, you know, kind of satisfy the fans. There's usually a lot more information in the book. But I think those two really surpass the book, and it's kind of hard to do. Again, I try not to compare, but those ones just stand out in my mind. So, Irvin Welsh's Trainspotting, and then Jack Palahniuk's Fight Club. And again, Trainspotting, directed by Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle's done so many amazing films. 28 Days Later, one of my favorite modern horror movies as well. The Beach really needs a Blu-ray release. How does that not have a Blu-ray release? Crazy to me. But 127 Hours, you know, just a ton of great films. Shallow Grave is another one that I really enjoyed. It's got a Criterion Collection release. I got it somewhere behind me up there. But yeah, some really great films, and he directed this one, which I thought was a really interesting idea and concept here. This guy wakes up, he's a, you know, struggling singer-songwriter, and he wakes up and discovers that he's the only person in the world that remembers the Beatles, that apparently nobody else in the world knows the Beatles existed. I think that's a really cool concept. And then at the end, you find out that there's all these other things that people don't know about or remember too. And they could really they could do sequels. It gets bogged down in like the third act though a bit. I feel like it kind of loses its momentum as it goes along. I like the cast in here. You see a lot of you know, recognizable stars. I'm trying to see on the back, Kate McKinnon, Ed Sheeran's in here. Lily James, and then the lead is Himesh Patel. But I think he's the driving force here. I think he did a really good job in the lead, and I think he's actually, you know, talented doing the music as well. And, you know, it's just him, you know, essentially taking the Beatles songs and, you know, creating them as, you know, he came up with them, and people are loving it, and, you know, he's become a huge star. You know, there's got the romance aspect in here as well. But I don't know, I feel like it kind of loses steam in the third act. I don't know, I just wanted a little bit more from it. I still think it's heartfelt and engaging, but especially if you're a fan of the Beatles and music, I think you'll definitely appreciate it. But I don't know, certain elements bog it down a little bit, like again, like the romance aspect, a little heavy-handed. And then, I don't know, just the third act, I wanted more from it overall. But he also directed Slumdog Millionaire. Danny Boyle just popped into my mind, but he's done so many great films. But yeah, again, heartfelt, emotional, really good, you know, music aspects here too. And you definitely get invested in his character. But I don't know, I just wanted a little bit more from it. I still think it's good though. I still think it's something I would recommend people to check out, but I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of a missed opportunity. I feel like they could have done a little bit more, especially towards the end of the film. That's just me, you know, nitpicking a little bit, but, I don't know, it's just something every time I think about the movie, I think about that. But I definitely love there's an aspect of, and again, talking about other things that, you know, people forgot about. And I don't know, I just thought that was kind of cool. But I like the kind of, you know, fantasy aspect, you know, kind of, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people have dreamed about certain things, and it just felt like you were in like his dream, essentially. Next up, Lord of War. And this one, probably, you know, let me know what your favorite Nicolas Cage movie. This is in the top for me. This is written and directed by Andrew Niccol, who also, he wrote a bunch of great things, but he directed Gattaca. And he's basically, it's about Nicolas Cage's character. He's an arms dealer, and a great supporting cast here too. Trying to remember, Jared Leto's in here, of course, Bridget Moynihan, Ethan Hawke, Gattaca. But yeah, this one to me, it's gritty. He's dealing with like this African warlord at one point. He's reaching kind of like the top of his top echelon of dealing, you know, arms trade and things like that. You know, he's running guns to all these different, you know, warlords. And yeah, it's a lot of drama in here, and tension, and action, and, you know, especially dealing with the warlord. And yeah, it's just, you know, the power and the greed. And again, it's some crazy elements here. And one of my, I'd say, top 5 Nicolas Cage movies for me. Raising Arizona is always a family man too. He's done a great Con Air. You got to put Con Air in there. Some great roles, but he's also had some really ridiculous roles and performances. I feel like the ridiculous ones far outweigh the good ones. But still, for me, a top 5 Nicolas Cage movie. And a really good film. I would definitely recommend the heck out of this one. It's great to see this get a from Lionsgate 4K treatment. Yesterday's from Universal. John Wick is Lionsgate. I think I went through all the other ones too. Next up is Hunter Killer. This is like essentially a sub movie. They're on a big submarine. This is from Lionsgate as well. This one surprised me. It's better than I thought it was going to be. I went in with low expectations. Stars Gerard Butler, Gary Oldman. Let me know your favorite Gerard Butler movie. He's the lead here. He's a captain, American captain, and he's hunting for a U.S. sub that's in distress. And they get like this Russian captain, and there's like a coup to overthrow, this Russian president. It's all about this, they get some, I think they do get a Russian, like a few different Russian crew members and this Russian captain, but it's all about the coup of overthrowing this Russian president from like this general. And they basically have to help the Russians. And I thought this was actually really surprisingly good. You've got Common right there, and a few other recognizable people, but I thought this was, one that caught me off guard. I, again, went in with low expectations, much better than I thought. Well acted, some good suspense and tension throughout, and basically they have to, stop from having another, World War III, and basically have to help, secure the Russian president and make sure this coup doesn't go through. And they have these Navy SEALs that have to go over there and save the Russian president and sneak through. And again, really good tension. The majority of it was on the sub, but then there are also again, the Navy SEAL members come out of the water and go to over there to Russia and try to save the president over there. But I like, there's some really good, sub movies. I feel like I haven't seen one in a while. So this is probably one of the better ones. Hunt for Red October's on there. But there's a bunch of older ones. I feel like, during the Cold War era, especially, they played it up. But not too many recently. And this is definitely one of the better. There was another one, though, actually. But this is definitely one of the better ones of recent years. Next up is the Lego Movie 2, the second part. If you're a fan of the first one, you'll probably enjoy this one. It's kind of like a lot of the same characters, some new characters. They're trying some new things here, doing a lot of stuff in outer space. Some crazy characters. There's the new threat, the Lego Duplo, and these different invaders. And there's gonna be a big marriage and Batman. I love the Batman character in this one. But it's a fun ride. If you like the first one, you'll enjoy this one. It's nothing. They do a new spin on it, but it's the same kind of feel to it. And it was a fun ride. It's colorful. It's, animated, entertaining, funny, good quips and one-lines there. And there's an interesting take with, Emmett, I believe the lead character is on here. But yeah, it was a fun ride. Again, if you like the first one, you'll like this one. And that's from Warner Brothers. And next up is Cold Pursuit, which is a remake of the Norwegian film In Order of Disappearance. And this is a Lionsgate release. I definitely liked the snowy setting in here. I don't know how I feel about every character being introduced. Like you see the character and they have like their nickname and stuff on there. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed the setting and the tension here. Another good action film with Liam Neeson. He's done so many. Ever since Taken blew up, he's like, I'll take it. Let me know what your favorite Liam Neeson movie is. He's definitely done, back in the day, he did a ton of different, he did the Haunting remake. He's done some horror though. He did Darkman back in the day. But yeah, this one he's a snowplow driver, and his son gets murdered, and he kind of digs deeper for it, and he finds out there's a drug king involved, and essentially it's a tale of vengeance. And I definitely like all the different characters and how they intertwine as well. There's a bunch of Native American characters in here. There's a scene towards the end with the paragliding too. I definitely like that. Some good tension and action, and I definitely like the cast here. Again, like I said, I don't know how I feel about each character getting introduced, and you see the little name and stuff like that. It's a little off-putting, but I assume they did that in the Norwegian one as well, so they're kind of carrying that over. But yeah, he gets caught up and trying to take everybody out, and again, the characters are intertwined and things like that. But a decent, one of the better Liam Neeson action movies I've seen recently. I've seen some ones that weren't so good. I saw one not too long ago where he was a bank robber, and I was like, And again, I've seen a few other ones that were definitely under par for me. But he's definitely found himself in all these action movies like that. He's found himself being a star in that. So I feel like he's got an audience, and people will continue to see him in these movies. And this one, again, one of the better ones of recent years. So no complaints too much. I mean, it's not one of his best movies, but it's one of his better action movies of recent years. But yeah, let me know your favorite Liam Neeson movie. He did Walk Among the Tombstones. I think is very underrated. That's definitely one of my, I'd say, top 5 for me for Liam Neeson movies. Big fan of that one. I think I'd have to say my favorite Liam Neeson movie is The Grey. I love the heck out of that one. Again, the snowy setting and the wolves, and just kind of a survival tale like that. The ending, I understand people have criticism for that, but I definitely also don't consider it a horror movie. It's a survival thriller. I've heard some people consider it a horror movie just because they're getting chased by wolves, and that's really not, it's part of the element going on, but there's a lot more to the story too. I don't know, I just don't feel like that one is a horror movie. Again, survival thriller. I feel like the same way with Adam Green's Frozen. Again, I consider that more of a survival thriller movie, not a horror movie. It's got wolves in that one too, actually. But there's a bunch of movies that I think are more thriller than horror. Silence of the Lambs, again, more of a crime thriller than a horror movie. Same thing with Manhunter, and a bunch of different ones like that I consider to be more thriller than horror. But to each their own, I guess. American Psycho, I definitely consider a horror movie, but a lot of people don't consider that a horror movie, but the writer calls it a horror. So I'm going to go with the writer of the original source material, the book. So I'm going to go with them on that one. But yeah, it's interesting to see what people think what's horror and what's not horror. Let me know some examples for you of movies that people consider to be horror that you don't think are horror, or movies that you think are horror but people don't widely consider anyways to be horror. There's a few movies out there for that. I've heard people say that I Am Legend isn't a horror movie. You're out of your friggin' mind. It is definitely a horror movie. Essentially, fighting these zombie-like characters. And it's definitely the best take of the I Am Legend, source material too, from Richard Matheson, Vincent Price's Last Man on Earth. I'm sorry to say, it was a bit of a snooze fest. He's essentially like walking past them. There's actually one with Mark Dacascos too, as I Am Omega, I think maybe. And then again, Omega Man with Charlton Heston too, which I feel like is too dated now. I definitely think it's, a good film, but I Am Legend to me, the acting, the cinematography, the effects, the tension, just everything about that film, for me, hands down, the best adapted take from Richard Matheson's I Am Legend. He's also from Jersey, by the way, so I think that's another thing that I've enjoyed about that, the source material of the book, and him as an author. So I've heard people say that I Am Legend isn't a horror movie, which blows my friggin' mind. Those people are crazy. That's definitely a horror movie. But, it's just a couple examples, and I went off on a side tangent there. I do that a bunch. I digress. Back to the point. The Grey is my favorite Liam Neeson movie. Darkman is up there for me, too. Walk Among the Tombstones, which is one I definitely think is super underrated. But, yeah. This one, to me, again, he's done a bunch of different action movies recently. This is the past few years. Even though this movie has its flaws, I definitely think it's one of the better movies he's done in recent years, especially for these, action-oriented kind of stuff. Next up is Crank, which I remember not liking this one too much when I was younger, but I definitely liked it a lot more in the revisit. This is from Lionsgate. Amy Smart in here too. He's Chev Chelios. He's done a ton of action movies too. Jason Statham. He did, the Meg not too long ago, which was crazy. He was fighting a giant shark. But I remember him way back in the day. He did Snatch and Lock, Stock and Smoking Barrels. But back in the day, I definitely think I liked those movies a little bit more than the ones he's doing now. But this one was just a crazy, ridiculous, over-the-top, palpable, balls-to-the-wall action movie. Just an adrenaline thrill ride from start to finish, essentially. And he has to keep his, heart rate over a certain point as well. And just everything that he does is just so insane. But yeah, Amy Smart's so stunning in here. She's been in a bunch of movies. I remember her in, Just Friends, but Butterfly Effect. That's like I love that movie. That's got some really dark stuff going on in there. It's got Ashton Kutcher, the star. Don't let that, dissuade from checking it out. Very good dark movie, Butterfly Effect, starring Amy Smart. But she's the love interest here, and it's just crazy over the top action from start to finish. Jason Statham, awesome in this role. Definitely a fun ride, much better than I remember it being. You go into it with, the expectation it's going to be an action, over the top, ridiculous, but a popcorn entertainment ride, essentially. Next up is A Simple Favor, and this is directed by Paul Feig. His name is. He did a bunch of stuff with Melissa McCarthy. He did the Ghostbusters movie with the female cast. He did The Heat, not to be confused with the Michael Mann's Heat. And then he did Bridesmaids. He did Spy. He loves working with her, but he's done like a lot of those like female-driven lead roles, a lot of comedic stuff. This one isn't comedic. Blake Lively's so stunning. I do like Anna Kendrick as well. She's really talented. But Blake Lively is like one of my all-time celebrity crushes. Really kind of a surreal feel to it almost. It's basically about this Anna Kendrick, and she has this like parenting vlog, and she becomes friends with Blake Lively, who's very stunning and sophisticated, and they try to play it up like they're so opposites of one another, and they become like really good friends. And then Blake Lively's character disappears, and Anna Kendrick tries to figure out what happened to her and finds out she has a completely different life, and she gets really entangled in that, and trying to uncover what happened to her. And there's the husband as well, of Blake Lively, and he's like a suspect of what happened to her. It almost is like a neo-noir feel to it as well. Very stylistic. There's some violent things that happen towards the end, and you uncover a lot about her character and why she did certain things. I wanted a little bit more from it, but I still like it enough to keep it in the collection and revisit it. I thought it was very well acted from the two leads especially. So Blake Lively, I'm a big fan of her. I know a lot of people don't like the Shallows movie, but for me it's one of the better shark attack movies out there. Great character-driven shark attack movie, and Blake Lively was stunning in it. So there you go. Those are the 15 4Ks. If you've seen any of them, definitely let me know what you think of them, and let me know which one of these is your favorite. Leave me those comments down below, and I hope everybody's doing well. Take care.